Welcome to Source BMX. I'm Van Holman here in Waldo, Florida with a lifetime BMXer, an engineer, the owner of BSD, Grant Smith.
Hey, what's up?
All right, Grant, so let's dive into this. I mean, before we get into the specifics of your bike, like I said, you're an engineer. You started BSD way back in 1992, is that right?
91.
91?
91, yeah.
Okay, so kind of what was the inspiration to starting BSD, and what do you feel like your engineering background offers to your product designs?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, we were just making videos and t-shirts and stuff, and then I was at university doing mechanical engineering, so I always had ideas for like, making bike stuff better, whatever. And the first thing we made was like a big 44 tooth sprocket back in like 97, I think, you know, it was 10 millimeters thick, heavy, but it was something we needed to, because we were breaking shit all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the inspiration was to kind of like create products that could withstand the abuse that riders were putting on it. Yeah.
And, because I was working as a design engineer anyway, I was drawing stuff. I worked in laser industry, working in 3D CAD. So I would like sit and draw bike parts and be like, oh yeah, we can make this, and it just grew from there.
All right, so let's start. Grant, you're riding the BSD Freedom frame. I'm assuming Freedom means that you're free to ride everything with this frame. It probably has a more all-around geometry.
Yeah, so my one, I ride a 20.8, which is the same size as Chris Kyle rides. So signature frame. I'm at the same height as him.
How tall are you?
5'7".
Okay.
Maybe 5'7". Yeah, 5'7". So it's got a 75-degree head angle. It's got a low 11.5 BB, which is unlike most of the street frames. So it's a bit more stable for like ramp and that sort of thing as well. Because a lot of street frames got a higher bottom bracket just for clearance for crooked grinds.
Right.
I don't ride pegs, so I mean, I think it feels better. The rear end is, I think I run about 13 1/4. It's not super short, it's just nice and stable.
Yeah. Perfect.
And then another thing's got kind of more of a laid back seat angle. It's like 69.5 degrees. Takes the seat out of the way a bit.
Well, it gives you a little more room.
Yeah, a little more room. This one's something Chris wanted. I quite like that on the frame.
Okay. Yeah, what size top tube do you ride?
Yeah, 20.8.
20.8,
yeah.
Okay. The BSD dust fork, what offset we running here? What else do we need to know?
So this is like a mid offset, it's a 26.
Okay.
So we do 3 different offsets in the BSD fork. There's a Jones fork, which is Sam Jones' signature fork, and it's a 22, which is pretty nippy. And then the acid fork at the other end is 30, which is more kind of like for everything.
Right.
I like this as a little more maneuverable on the front end, 26 there.
Gotcha. And what goes like into the engineering of this fork? Like what type of metal, type of treatments?
So yeah, it's heat treated chromo, 4130. We've got invest cast dropouts on there as well, and then tapered tubing on the legs too, which, I mean, everyone uses that now. It means you got more weld area up here. It comes in here, and the taper tubing's a bit more rigid as well for a fork. But yeah, I like to cut the fork down as well, so I have the stem as low as possible. Okay. Which is something, so it's just sitting on top of the headset cap there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, a little trim. So Grant, you've got the BSD Alvix bars. You're running 9.25 rise. Also, one thing to point out is you have the 1-inch diameter circumference here to get a little more grip with the stem. Kind of break all this down for us.
So the Alvix bar is like Alex's preference on the bars. These are 28 wide, so he used to always be cutting down the bars. These just don't need to be cut.
So pre-cut, you don't have to stress about that. Yeah.
And these are the smallest size, 9.25. They come in 9.25, 9.5. And 9.75, and this is our most popular handlebar at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, another thing here, so we have regular tubing is 7/8 and a 7/8 inch here, but these are 1 inch at the stem clamping area, which is has more area for clamping, which the bars are less likely to slip.
Right.
So in the past, we'd be out on a filming trip, guys are sending big rails, the bars are slipping, and then we decided to change to this thing, and we have much less problems with the bars slipping,
Right.
It's not a common thing that people use at the moment. I think, if you look at other kinds of bikes, like road bikes, mountain bikes, whatever, they've got all sorts of diameters. And BMX, tends to like move slowly with progress and things, I think.
Yeah. No, it seems
I think it's better,
Yeah, I mean, less bar slippage, more. It makes sense, more circumference.
Yeah, and then you have tapered tubing here as well, which is a bit more rigid too. So, which is a good thing.
And then how's that tie into the stem? Obviously, then you're going to need a different stem.
Yeah,
to
so you need to
match
have the 1-inch OS stem as well. So yeah.
Right,
yeah.
and what stem are we running here?
So this is leveled stem. So this is like a mid kind of, it's a top load stem, but it's like the lowest of our stem range. Well, not the lowest, it's the mid-range stem.
Okay.
So we have the drop stem, which is a front load. We have the level stem, and then we have the stacked one, which is like another 6 millimeters or 1/4 inch higher than this one.
Okay, so again, you kind of like middle of the road height, ride everything type of spirit.
Yeah.
All right, Grant, you've got the Substance V2 cranks. I know from talking to a lot of your riders, these things can take some serious abuse. What type of design here do we have?
So it's they use a 24 millimeter spindle, which is a mid-bottom bracket, and then here we have an invest cast part here, which is designed to be flush, so there's nothing sticking out to hit
Oh
your
yeah,
ankles.
no ankle snags.
So it's
Wow,
like
that
it's
is
like about
clean,
smooth as you can do. You
Right.
can make it without that, and it's a 2.5 piece design, so it's just one bolt.
2.5,
here.
yeah,
Oh, well,
okay.
that's what you call it. So like, there's
Yeah.
only one bolt to tighten everything up. So you don't
Right,
need
I
bolts
love
either
that clean
side,
design. Yeah, I always love that clean, simple design. And then you've got the guard sprocket on
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So I run a 25 tooth with a 9 on the back.
Okay.
And this one's had a bit of a beating lately. But yeah, it's just a simple guard design there.
I mean, yeah, why do you choose like the aluminum guard sprocket over like a plastic maybe?
The plastic one, I think, the problem for me is if you hit something metal on the plastic one, it's so slidey.
Okay.
Whereas this has got a bit of grip.
So you want it more to protect your chain than you do to grind?
Yeah, I think it's hard to grind on that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Generally do more like on the crank arm or the pedal.
Right.
Yeah, which.
Speaking of the pedals, you've got the Reed Stark Safari pedals. I know I know he kind of was doing some designy things himself.
Yeah.
Put a lot of effort into the location of the pins, the circumference, everything. So
yeah, so Reed 10 years ago more came to me with the idea of more pins on the pedal. We drew something up and then we made like a DX style pedal with extra pins on it so it lasts longer. And it's a dual concave design, so it's concave in this direction and this way as well. And it's quite, I don't know if it's quite a big pedal, but it's like a really comfortable pedal.
Right, it kind of has that ergonomic, or was that what they call it? Ergonomic? Is that the right word?
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, it was Reed's idea, and Reed worked on it as part of his college project when he was there, and we worked together on that with him to make an actual real product, you know.
Love it. All right, Grant, let's talk about your wheels. Some pretty special thing going on with these wheels right now. Obviously, the Revolution hub kind of says it itself. You kind of revolutionized the way like a free coaster hub can work. Kind of break that down, break down the developments you've been working on there.
So the initial ideas from a friend, Tal, at Free Night in Israel. They came to us years ago with this new idea for the planetary clutch. We worked with them on that to come out with this first. I don't know, it was like 5 years ago or something. This one's actually got a newer version of the clutch in it. So the original one had like a rubber O-ring to create the friction for the coaster mechanism. This has got a new spring V1.5 clutch, which we're going to be coming out with soon as well. We're just waiting on the production finishing for that. It's also a female axle version because I'm pegless, but it feels like a cassette hub because it's got no gap.
Right.
It weighs the same as a cassette hub rather than like a heavy free coaster with the big clunky gap. And yeah, so it's just.
So yeah, I mean that's what blows my mind. It seems like again, Revolution hub. It seems like you revolutionized the way a free coaster hub can work. I mean, a free coaster hub that performs like a cassette. That's insane.
And you can see here. So I mean, if you pedal forward, it's just
like hardly any slack. Amazing. And what about the rims? Something special happening here?
So yeah, this is something we've been working on for years. It's carbon XLT rim. We got some carbon rim samples, I don't know, like 5 years ago. And then we made our own tooling. Quite a lot of our riders use these. So we've got Alex Donicky, Gaspar Gwendolyn, Guy Scroggy, Chris Kyle, I think some others, you know. And I think they weigh about 375 grams. They look like a regular rim rather than some kind of weird like road bike look style. They're designed for freestyle, not for racing. And they are so stiff and solid. They're expensive, but if you want your bike to feel good, you can't bend them.
But you're saving that rotational weight.
So much rotational weight. The bike just feels different. Oh yeah, Andrei Prodova as well, the Ukrainian rider. I don't know if you've seen him, but the stuff he's doing, like once he got these wheels, he started to progress even further with spins and flips and stuff.
Just putting them through abuse. They're holding up great.
And just because the bike just moves, it's much more maneuverable because of the weight. So yeah. We've got the carbon XLT rims, which are coming out probably in a few months' time. And then I've got Kevlar beaded Donna Street tires, which is a little more weight saving, and turbo liter tubes as well.
Okay,
So
yeah, so all the perks.
Yeah.
I mean, what about these tires? Yeah, Alex seems like he put a lot of thought into the design and the...
So I mean, the idea was it's just to have more of a smooth style tire, nothing to snag on the sides, like a real street tire.
Oh, like for grinds,
for grinds and that. But with like a little knurling on the surface as well. These are a 2.4 size, and they come in 2.3 as well. Yeah, just a nice grippy compound too.
And what tire pressure do you run?
Like 45.
45?
Yeah.
You're too old to be only running 45 PSI.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, maybe 50 on the ramp.
That's it, all right. Okay.
With the carbon rims as well, because the wheels don't flex as much.
Oh, okay.
You can run a little softer tires.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
While we're on the rubber, Grant, what about these grips?
So these are the Lee's handles. So Leezy Zingberg from Australia, this is his grip. So he used to cut the flange end off here on the Dampaley grip, so he wanted the mushroom all the way to the end.
Oh, okay.
So for catching bar spins. These are like a really thin zigzag style mushroom grip.
Yeah, really comfortable,
soft
yeah.
as well.
All right, Grant, you've got the BSD Mondo pivotal seat set up.
Yeah.
How important is like your seat shape and your seat post height?
Personally, I mean, I like the seat quite low, but the fat seat as well, it's just comfortable sitting on. Yeah, I like the look of it too. And it's Kevlar as well, so it lasts a long time, doesn't rip.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, good material, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I see down here, you've got some serious abuse here down on that bottom chainstay. You know, like what do you do when you're designing a frame to make sure that a bike can take that kind of abuse?
I mean, the thing is with this chromo tapered tubing, it can take the abuse. Yeah. So it's just the things of the tubing.
So like when you're engineering a bike, you know, you're trying to find the perfect tubing for each piece of the bike. I would imagine.
Yeah, I guess so. So it's like butted at the front end, so you know it's thicker here and here, the same here. This is a thicker on the chainstays there as well, 4 grinds.
So a lot of times you just see a bike and it looks like a simple bike, but there's a lot more going on in the inside that the general consumer doesn't know about.
Yeah, and then we have a lot of invest cast parts on this frame, so the dropouts are invest cast, and then they're like inserted into the tube and welded and dressed off. This wishbone here is invest cast, so is the seat clamp. And then the mid-bottom bracket and the head tube are heat treated as well. So, yeah.
All right, Grant, thank you for sharing your BSD build. It's an honor to get the first-hand information from the owner, the engineer. Everybody, make sure to go on the Source Bike Builder. There you can get pricing, spec, and availability on everything Grant is riding. sourcebmx.com.
Thank you, man.